on that, hopefully.
All right, let's talk hard numbers today. I love this number, 10,316.
That is the number of days that the Berlin Wall stood from the time of its construction in 1961 until it fell in 1989. And as of this week, it is the number of days that it has been down. I think it's interesting is if you look at polls of Germans, more than half of Germans still feel that their country has not been fully reunified. And I think it speaks to this broader question of whether the expectations in 1989 of economic convergence and democratic convergence between East and West, whether those expectations were really fully met. And I think in a certain respect they've not been. And if you look at the rise of populism and right-wing movements in Europe, a lot of that has to do with those that unfinished business of 1989, I think.
I remember very distinctly when the wall came down, and you know, as a kid growing up under the threat of Soviet domination of Western Europe, it was something that was children. We never imagined a world where that wall would not be up. So when I saw that number, people started tweeting about it a couple of days ago. It just sort of made me step back and go, man, we've come a long way.
Right,
yeah,
right. Time has flight. 3.7%.
3.7% of Syrian territory is now controlled by ISIS. That's down from nearly 50% several years ago. Look, the physical caliphate of ISIS is now gone largely, but there are two big questions. One is, do they still have reach ideologically? A lot of ISIS fighters are returning home to their countries of origin. And secondly, ISIS was sort of the enemy of an enemy of an enemy's friend of an enemy in the Middle East, right? Everyone could kind of agree that they didn't like ISIS, so a lot of the deeper divisions in the region, whether between Kurds and Turks or Sunni and Shia, were papered over by the common enemy of ISIS. Now that ISIS as a territory has really dissolved, do those things start to reemerge? I think the answer is yes.
This number is really interesting, 16%.
16% of Latin American, the approval rating of President Trump in Latin America is just 16%, right? It's not hard to see why. When Trump talks about the region, he usually sort of frames it as a place where all we get is crime and drugs and U.S. job losses and things. The reason that's significant is that Rex Tillerson is in the region this week in order to try and patch up relations. Of the large countries in Latin America, Colombia is the only one where the U.S. is viewed more favorably than China. So again, we have a situation where U.S. power is waning and China is trying to step in and take the influence.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Take advantage.
Alex Clement, always great to have you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure's
We will see you on Friday.
Yes.